If you're a financial planner or a CPA or enrolled agent or anybody else that deals with clients that might consider a reverse mortgage from time to time, and you'd like to try and figure out if a reverse mortgage would make sense for that client of yours, this is an opportunity for you to do that on your own, anytime you want, 24/7, without any login or password, and without involving your client's personal information. You can do that by having a relationship with a loan officer that uses this software, Griph. And if that were to happen, then this loan officer would invite you to be a referral partner for them. And you would get a link to a website like this. So you would save this URL as one of your favorites. And when you want to run numbers for somebody, you just go here and click on Get Started. Now, as you'll see, there's a lot of data points here. No personal information whatsoever. You may not know everything about the prospective reverse mortgage client here, but whatever you fill in will give us the opportunity to generate some numbers for you and let you do a little bit of modeling. So let's just kind of run through an example, shall we? 70-year-old borrower, no birthday anytime soon, $750,000 house in California, self-reporting excellent credit. They've got a car loan, $350 a month, $125 a month for credit cards, and they live in a single-family residence. 2 people live in there. They do not pay any HOA dues, not in an HOA community. Square feet is 2,000 square feet, and they own no other real estate properties. Household income is $5,700 a month. They've got $15,000 in checking and $450,000 that you're helping them manage, and that's it. And they have no mortgage balance at the moment. Their annual property taxes are $5,000 a year, and $1,800 is their homeowner's insurance, and they have no home equity line of credit balance. So as you can see, we've asked for quite a bit of information, but that's so we can give quality information to you. None of it's personal, and you just click here to say Get Results. Oh, did I type an O instead of a 0? Let's see, try that again. There we go. So you'll see it'll start off with a bit of a chart here, and then we get into the real numbers. In this case, they would start off with an initial line of credit, and an FHA reverse mortgage, which is what we're looking at here, is a lot like a HELOC on steroids. It's a line of credit, starting off at $296, and if they never touch it, it will just grow in their favor over time. They might like that growth factor, and it might be easier for them to budget if they were to receive specific payments each month. So this shows what they could receive in comparison to that $296. If they decided to receive annuity style payments for 10 years, over those 10 years they'd receive $397,000 or $3,310 per month. There's a lifetime option as well. We call it the 10-year plan. And if they selected that one and they happen to live for 30 years, they would receive $653,000 or a little over $1,800 per month. This is not an either or. These are just for illustrations of the differences between the two. This is an example of how somebody might set it up. Maybe they have an immediate draw of 15 grand to pay off the car loan. They allocate some of it to this lifetime payment plan that you see up here. And whatever's left over, they allocate to the line of credit that they can draw on at any time. And there is an option for a property tax and insurance reserve. Sometimes that's mandatory when they don't have enough income to meet FHA requirements, or their credit history is below standard. In this case, they had excellent credit and plenty of income. So that's just as a hypothetical introduction. Now you can model and build their own reverse mortgage based on certain assumptions you'll see here, and you can change. If these default assumptions are accurate, their property would grow from the $750,000 now to about $1.5 million in their early 90s. Their line of credit, which is a little bit below 300 grand now, would also grow to, looks like somewhere in the $700,000 or $800,000 range. That tiny green slice there, that's the reverse mortgage loan balance, starting off just financing the fees and growing over time. Clearly a lot of equity in the home. So what are we using here for our default assumptions. Interest rate scenario, this gives the actual interest rate history. That's the 1-year Treasury plus the margin plus 0.5% for FHA. And here is a hypothetical what it might do in the future. This particular one is called Twin Peaks because it just shows Twin Peaks. And this just says rates go up and down and up and down. And they'll continue to go up and down and up and down. You can build your own custom, what you think it might look like in the future. It defaults to certain rates, then you make your changes up here. Some people like to just go with what the initial interest rate is. Right now it's in the neighborhood of around 6%, and that's including all three, the index, which is the 1-year Treasury, the margin, and 0.5% for FHA. Let's leave it like that for a while. As you can see, we now have much more of a slope that's consistent. Before we had the Twin Peaks, and it was a little bit of an unusual slope there. What's our property value appreciation rate? We default to 3%. You can do another custom one. You can go to 4%, 2%, whatever you think is appropriate. We're going to leave it at 3% for now. And go ahead and collapse this one and collapse this one. Now we're moving into, well, do you want any cash up front? I do. All right. Well, the most you can get during the first year for this scenario is $168,000, but maybe you just want $12,000 to pay off the balance on the car loan. Now you see that $12,000 represented here as a slice of the $296. Would you like to make voluntary payments on a reverse mortgage? Why would anybody do that? Well, if you do that, not only will it affect your loan balance in a good way, it'll bring it down, but also that money will go into a line of credit that you can access in the future. In this particular case, bringing the loan balance down won't do a whole lot for you because it's already very, very low. So I'm going to leave that alone for a moment, and I'm going to come back to it. Let's say you want to receive payments and you want to get them right now. You're 70 years old, you want them for 10 years until you're 80. And this will tell you the maximum you can get, $31.74. If you don't want that, leave it to default to no, and say you want $1,500 a month for the next 10 years. So that's showing up right here. This is your green cash flow. Money's coming to you, $1,500 a month for the 10 years, and there's the cumulative total. We're going to come back to that one up there in just a moment. Right here you've got more of the actual numbers. So if you're 70 years old now in the $750,000 house and you're free and clear, your equity is $750,000. If these assumptions are correct, then 15 years from now at age 85, your home will be worth $1,168,000. That's the 3% appreciation. Your mortgage balance will be all the way to $400,000 and change. That's the initial fees, plus interest accruing and FHA insurance accruing on the loan, plus the $1,500 a month for 10 years. So your equity will have gone from $750,000 to $753,000, a modest increase of $300,000. You will have received $192,000 of cash flow, and you'd have about $360,000 available to you in your line of credit in 15 years. So you can kind of see this at age 85. There's the line of credit, $360,000, and your loan balance at that time is a little bit more than that, $415,000. So now I want to go back to if you wanted to make voluntary payments. And this is just to sort of show you what happens, not really that I would expect it to happen. You're receiving money for 10 years, so you're not going to make any payments, but hypothetically, after you stopped receiving money, you said, okay, I'm in my 80s, those RMDs are pretty high, I want to pay you for 5 years at $750 a month. If you were to do that, you see some modest changes here, but it is a pretty significant change in the amount available to you in the line of credit in the future. And we get a little bit of a bump here to $400,000, but let's run it up to age 90 or 91. There you'd have over $500,000 available to you just by making those $750 a month payments for 5 years. Once you kind of built and gone through these different ones and you feel like, okay, this sounds pretty good, you'll get the summary in verbiage and numbers. It just shows you some of the benefits that we feel are important to understand with a reverse mortgage. cash flow benefits, the line of credit, the flexibility that provides to you, how you can start and stop annuity payments. They didn't mention the start and stop flexibility. Let's say you signed up for those 10 years of annuity payments and after 3 years you wanted to stop it. That's fine. You can stop it immediately. Whatever funds were reserved to continue for the next 7 years will just be dropped into your line of credit. It'll cost you $20 to do that. The power of receiving voluntary payments from the borrower. If you had a borrower who still had $50, $75, $100,000 left on their loan, and they wanted to keep making payments on that loan, except they make them to the reverse mortgage, the value of that is you get that money going into your line of credit that you can pull back in the future without any credit check, income check, appraisal, application, none of that. This is a non-recourse loan, no personal responsibility to the borrowers or their heirs. You can keep it in a trust, provided it meets FHA and lender guidelines. These are just some of the fees. Fees are higher on a reverse mortgage than they are on typical loan, due primarily to the FHA insurance. So here we enumerate them here. And this is the table that was used to create the charts. $12,000 to pay off the car loan cash up front, $18,000 a year for 10 years, and then you're paying, or the borrower's paying us, $750 a month for 5 years. Cumulative cash flow shows up down here. And this is how we project the equity in the future, which is just the property value going up at 3% a year, less the loan balance. The loan balance is basically, the upfront fees plus the $12,000, and then the payments to you. So at the end of the first year, it would jump up to about $57,000 and would grow over time. You'll see here the rate of growth is slowing a bit because of the $9,000 a month payments that they're making. Line of credit is influenced similarly by the upfront approval amount and the payments. So when payments are going out, we've pulled a lot of money out of the line of credit to be able to make those payments to you. And when you're paying money to us, then that's accelerating the growth on the line of credit. And here's the cumulative total over time. Just the initial setup, important information there. If you've discussed it with the applicant or the potential borrower and they're ready to get going, you can go ahead and put in their name and information here, and the loan officer will keep you informed as they have contact with that borrower. If you're not ready for that to happen yet, but you want to put in the name of the borrower just for reference purposes only, and your email address, and whatever information you have, then that will not go to the borrower. We have no way of contacting them. The email would come to you, and we would just basically send you a short email asking you to confirm we have the correct email address, and then the loan officer will give you a call and say, okay, what's the background story here? What's important when you feel it's appropriate to set up a three-way call with these people and things of that nature. If you'd rather not go that route, you can just click here, download a PDF of the model that you built, maybe ask your clients to come into the office or email it to them and have a little Zoom call with them or something like that. And so once again, no personal information, and yet you've been able to achieve an objective of getting some information on a reverse mortgage for these individuals. And you don't have to play telephone tag with the loan officer or send a bunch of texts or emails. You can just jump on the site yourself and create it as you wish. So that's the benefit of working with this system. I would like to say that there are some things that are going to come up a little bit different based on the inputs here. So you're not always going to see the exact same results in terms of graphs and charts. And we'll just give you a quick example here. Let's say these people had a first mortgage balance that was quite a bit higher than what we could get them approved with the reverse mortgage. If you remember, their initial line of credit was about just under $300,000. What if they had a $350,000 mortgage? That changes things, doesn't it? Well, their monthly payment might be $2,500 a month, and there might be 26 years left on that mortgage because they got it 4 years ago when rates were low. Now we're going to look at results, and what do we see? A little bit different. We're having 3 points here: property value, home equity, and loan balance. What you don't see is that yellow line because there will be no line of credit. That means because the approval amount on this reverse mortgage is not enough to pay off that $350,000 loan that they've got. Here you'll see $750 is their property value, $350 of home mortgages and current mortgage payments. We would be about $53,000 short. Our net approval would be about $297, and that's $53 lower than that $350 they would need to be able to pay off that current mortgage, because we need to be in first position. Would they do that? Well, they'd probably talk to you about it. Is it worth it to them to do that? What will they gain in cash flow? Well, in cash flow they'll gain about just under $400,000 over 15 years. And if the property appreciates at 2.6% per year, they won't lose any equity. So they'll gain 400 grand of cash flow without losing any equity. If you wanted to change this and be aggressive and say 4% for property value appreciation, in that case they'll gain close to $250,000 in equity without making any payments, and cash flow savings of almost 400 grand. So just once again to show you that the results will be a little bit different based on the inputs. Any further questions, reach out to your loan officer. Thank you.
I'll reach out.